Ever wondered what the European Union is all about? You see that blue flag with the circle of golden stars everywhere. But what does it actually mean? How did it even start? And is it really all sunshine and rainbows? Stick with me, because today we're diving deep into the history, goals, advantages, and yes, the disadvantages of the European Union. By the end of this video, you'll understand this powerful global player like never before. Let's rewind the clock. Imagine Europe in 1945. The continent was in ruins, devastated by 2 world wars in just over 30 years. People were desperate for a lasting peace. They realized that if nations were economically tied together, they'd be far less likely to fight each other. It's like being business partners with your neighbor. You're really not going to start a conflict when your livelihoods depend on each other. This idea led to the Schuman Declaration in 1950. French Foreign Minister Robert Schuman proposed that France and West Germany pool their coal and steel production. Why coal and steel? Because these were the literal building blocks of war, the materials needed for weapons and tanks. If they were managed jointly, no single country could secretly arm itself against another. This was a revolutionary idea. So, in 1951, 6 countries, France, West Germany, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, signed the Treaty of Paris, creating the European Coal and Steel Community. It was a massive success. It not only prevented war, but also boosted their economies. Seeing how well this worked, these same 6 countries decided to take it a step further. In 1957, they signed the Treaties of Rome, creating the European Economic Community, or EEC. The goal was to create a common market. This meant getting rid of customs duties and allowing goods, services, people, and money to move freely between member countries. Think of it like turning 6 separate national markets into one giant, single market. This was the true beginning of the EU as we know it. Over the next few decades, the project grew. More countries wanted in the 1970s, Denmark, Ireland, and the United Kingdom joined. In the 1980s, Greece, Spain, and Portugal joined, all emerging from dictatorships and seeing the community as a beacon of democracy and prosperity. Then came a pivotal moment: the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the end of the Cold War. This completely redrew the map of Europe. To handle this new reality and unite the continent, the Maastricht Treaty was signed in 1992. This is the treaty that officially created the European Union. It went beyond just economics and laid the groundwork for closer cooperation on foreign policy, security, justice, and the euro. The single currency, the euro, was introduced in 1999, simplifying trade and travel for millions. The 2000s saw the EU's biggest expansion yet. 10 countries, many from former Eastern Europe, joined in 2004, followed by Bulgaria and Romania in 2007, and Croatia in 2013, bringing the total to 28 members. This was a historic reunification of a continent divided for decades by the Iron Curtain. Of course, in 2020, the United Kingdom became the first country to leave the EU after the Brexit referendum, which is a whole other story, but it brought the member count down to the current 27. So, that's the history in a nutshell. But what are the EU's goals today? The core mission, as stated in the treaties, is to promote peace, its values, and the well-being of its peoples. This breaks down into a few key areas. First, peace and security. This is the foundational goal, and honestly, it's been incredibly successful. For over 70 years, EU member states have not gone to war with each other. That is an unprecedented period of peace in European history. Second, economic and social progress. This is where the single market comes in. It's one of the largest economies in the world. The EU aims to create sustainable development based on balanced economic growth and price stability, a highly competitive market economy, and social progress. It also fights social exclusion and discrimination. Third, upholding European values. These values are human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law, and respect for human rights. Any country that wants to join the EU must prove it respects these values. And finally, projecting influence globally. As a bloc of 27 countries, the EU has a much bigger voice on the world stage than any single member state would alone. It's a major player in international trade, development aid, and climate change negotiations. Now for the big question. What are the actual, tangible benefits of being in the EU? The most obvious one is the freedom of movement. If you're an EU citizen, you have the right to live, work, study, or retire in any other EU country. No visa, no work permit needed. This has opened up incredible opportunities for millions of people. You can be born in Poland, get a university degree in Germany, and then find a job in Spain, all seamlessly. Then there's the economic powerhouse, the single market. By removing trade barriers, businesses have access to a market of nearly 450 million consumers. This leads to more competition, which means lower prices and more choice for you and me. It also makes European companies more competitive globally. And let's not forget the euro. For the 20 countries that use it, it has eliminated currency exchange costs and risks, making trade and travel even easier. The EU also provides significant funding for regional development. The so-called cohesion funds are used to build infrastructure like roads and bridges, support small businesses, and fund job training programs, especially in less developed regions. This helps to reduce economic disparities between different parts of the Union. Consumers also get a lot of protection. EU-wide rules ensure the products we buy are safe, from toys to electronics. Your food safety standards are some of the highest in the world. Ever heard of the GDPR? The EU's data protection regulation that gives you more control over your personal information online. And what about when your flight is cancelled? EU rules guarantee you compensation or assistance. These are protections that apply across all 27 countries. And of course, there's the environmental leadership. The EU has some of the most ambitious climate goals in the world, like the European Green Deal. But, as with anything, it's not a perfect system. The EU faces a lot of criticism and has some significant disadvantages. One of the biggest complaints is about a loss of national sovereignty. To be part of the club, member states have to follow EU laws, which, in some areas, override national laws. Critics argue that this transfers too much power from democratically elected national governments to unelected bureaucrats in Brussels. This was a central argument in the Brexit campaign. Then there's the bureaucracy. The EU is a massive, complex institution with a reputation for being slow and creating excessive regulation, sometimes called red tape. Some business owners complain that the sheer volume of rules stifles innovation and is a burden, especially for small companies. The one-size-fits-all approach can also be a problem. A policy that works well for a large economy like Germany might not be suitable for a smaller one like Malta. The Eurozone crisis highlighted this, where countries like Greece were stuck with a monetary policy that was too restrictive for their struggling economy, and they couldn't devalue their currency to become more competitive. There's also the cost. Every member state has to contribute to the EU budget, while many countries, especially the less wealthy ones, get more out than they put in through funding. The larger, wealthier nations are net contributors. This can lead to resentment, with citizens asking why their tax money is being spent in another country. Finally, there's what's known as the democratic deficit. Many people feel that the EU institutions are distant and unaccountable. The European Parliament is the only directly elected body, but its powers are still seen as limited compared to national parliaments. So, where does that leave us? The European Union is a fascinating, ambitious, and deeply complex political project. It was born from the ashes of war with a noble goal: to ensure lasting peace through economic and political integration. It has achieved remarkable success, creating a zone of stability and prosperity, a powerful single market, and granting unprecedented freedoms to its citizens. But this integration has come at a cost. Debates over sovereignty, bureaucracy, and democratic accountability are real and ongoing. The EU is constantly evolving, facing new challenges like managing migration, tackling climate change, and navigating its place in a world with shifting geopolitical powers. It's not perfect, but it's a unique experiment in history. Understanding its past, its goals, and its trade-offs is crucial for understanding the world we live in today. What do you think? Is the EU a model for the future or a flawed project? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the topics that shape our world. See you next time.